Hi, I'm Josiah,
And I'm Elizabeth.
and this is Worth Watching.
It's only April, and we already have our third Kevin Costner movie of the year.
We'll see how this goes.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Worth Watching. Today, we are reviewing Draft Day.
Alright, so this movie follows a fictional version of the 2014 NFL Draft, and it's about the Cleveland Browns, and you're specifically following Kevin Costner's character, who is the coordinator for the Cleveland Browns and is organizing everything to do with the draft and things like that. And so pretty much what this movie is just a football movie about the draft, and that's essentially all there is to it and what goes along the way and how he's sort of this unconventional guy and has these different strategies that he puts into play. And this is very much a movie for football fans. You know, a lot of sports movies, things like Rudy or Rocky or Warrior, things like that, are movies that sort of transcend the boundaries of a sports film where it's a really good movie, and even if you're not a fan of that particular sport, you'll still really enjoy it because of the connection you have to the character and the greater message of the film as a whole. This movie is not quite the case. This is a football movie, and very specifically a football draft day movie, and that's really what it's about. And so if you're not a fan of football, or you don't really care about the draft, you're probably not going to be interested in seeing a fictionalized version of just the draft day for the NFL.
And I'm even a football fan, and I actually like the Browns, and I found this movie not to be very entertaining. I was kind of sitting there bored a little bit through the movie, and I like football, and I didn't even like this.
And I'm not a huge football fan, I'll admit it, and I had some trouble just following parts of this movie, understanding exactly what was going on. And even when I did understand what was going on, I just didn't feel that invested in it because I was trying to focus more on the characters and stuff, watching it as a film, because again, I don't have much of an attachment to the NFL draft. And so watching it from that perspective, I just didn't really get into it. I found it was hard to care about the characters, and found that a lot of things that people were saying and doing didn't make sense. Particularly, this movie suffers from a lot of poor dialogue. The dialogue felt like it was written by someone who wasn't good at writing dialogue, which is really weird because the movie's directed by Ivan Reitman, who made Ghostbusters, which had great dialogue and really great comedic timing. And this dialogue, when it was supposed to be funny, it kind of just fell flat, and when it was supposed to carry weight and feel serious, it just didn't work, and sometimes it just wasn't even delivered very well.
And Jennifer Garner, her dialogue wasn't very good, and on top of that, her acting was horrible. Like, I felt like she wasn't invested in this movie, and she'd go to say her lines and it'd just be like, blah.
Yeah, she was really just saying her lines, not really acting them. Whenever she came on screen, I felt like I was suddenly watching like a middle school play because of the way she delivered lines. I was like, it sounds like you're just reading that off of paper. It's not convincing at all.
Right, and her and Kevin Costner were supposed to be kind of together in the movie, and
Didn't
he
work.
was like, it didn't work because, first of all, her acting wasn't very good, and he was like fully invested in, like, his acting was great in this movie.
Yeah, I actually liked Kevin Costner in the movie. I thought he was one of the better parts of the film. He played his role really well. He seemed to sell it. I did have an issue, though, with the way that his role was portrayed, because we're supposed to be looking at this person as this guy who has this really unconventional strategy and is going against what everyone wants him to do, but still knows what he's doing. Whereas to me, it really felt like he was just getting lucky and making a lot of really crazy decisions and having reactions to things that he made early in the film that was like, oh, well, I did that now, and so, if I do this, that will actually not be a terrible idea. So it felt like he was just getting lucky rather than actually having some awesome strategy that we were supposed to be rooting for.
The cinematography in this movie bothered me. It wasn't necessarily bad, because I know Josiah said it didn't bother him, but when they would be talking on the phone, so then they'd split the screen in half, and then the other person would cross over to the other scene that they're not even in. And
Right.
It was annoying. It bothered me so much.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. Again, it didn't really bother me because I thought it was somewhat different. And again, I was focusing on everything in this movie but the football, and so I was trying to pick out things that were interesting, but it was a little distracting at points when someone's shoulder would suddenly jut over the dividing line into the other person's frame. It was weird. All right, so on a scale of A through F, what would you rate this movie as a whole?
I'd have to give this movie a C, because it wasn't entertaining, but it was just okay.
Yeah, I was originally thinking, while I was watching, I was thinking maybe a low B because I was liking parts of it and thought that it was at least getting somewhere interesting. But afterwards, I kind of thought back on it and I realized I had to give the movie just a straight middle-of-the-road C because it could have been a lot better and really didn't accomplish much.
Thanks for watching this episode of Worth Watching.
Like the video if you like it, comment down below what you think of Draft Day, and subscribe if you want to see more. Bye.